Happy New Year. good afternoon, evening, or potential morning, depending on where you are in the world. Welcome back to Beginner Bootcamp. We have a fun set of matches in store today, as we have not only this match, but a little bit later on after this one, there will be another one. So lots of juicy action in store today, but today's matchup currently is going to be Podgy versus Froppy. I am joined by our lovely friend Moko. How are we doing?
I'm good. How are you? And everyone in chat. Top 8. And we're coming closer to the pointy end of event 2. But whilst we do this, I'm going to send off the races. And we'll see how this plays out between two very more prominent people in our that we've seen. Podgy coming from the any percent, one point recently taking the beginning and percent, but then having a interesting battle to keep it. And then Froppy, who's been around since for quite a few tournaments. See what we have in store. Start with the card. We have what appears to be HP Demix, the Meg Fight, Mouse Push, Barrels, Barbosa, so a couple in Port Royal, Twin Lords in Agrabah, Prison Keeper Oogie, which is a very quick double in Halloween Town, Hyenas 2, Screens, and Hostile Program 2, also quick back-to-backs, and Spooky Cave.
Yeah, speaking of these objectives, our starting unlocks has been very generous to us. We got a Bone Fist, Proud Fang, so we're halfway to Hyenas 2, but the Bone Fist gives us the 2 already available in Halloween Town with the Battlefields of War, so that already gives us access to the Future Pete fight, which is the Meg icon, or the OC Pete fight, which is the Meg icon. My apologies. We have the Royal Summons as well, so we have Mouse Push in store, and we have a Scimitar along with the Identity of Disc. So off rip, we have access to 7 objectives just from our starting items alone, which is a little terrifying.
Yeah, I'd be terrified too, knowing that one skill in Crossbones almost puts us in straight go mode without even looking further than that. That's very absurd. And so I guess the question I immediately ask when I see this card is, at what point do I just sacrifice Screens and just go into Screens? Because 2 objectives in Space Paranoids 1 is a huge thing, and we already find 2 ice creams from the shotguns that we've seen in Podgy's point of view with Agrabah and Pooh's house, and Froppy seeing just the second chance so far in terms of the important checks.
Yeah.
Although we just came up to Nani sketches. One more.
Okay, so probably gonna see Froppy dipping in 100 Acre here probably before long to get the ice cream that Podgy scored there. Might even just pay a quick visit to Piglet, see if there's anything of use there. But in the meantime, both players kind of getting their first shotgun out of the way between Podgy doing Agrabah and Froppy finishing up here with talking to Simba. Okay.
Oh my gosh. That is
That's just no, that doesn't do anything for us for either side.
Yeah. But we are getting Unlock Central, with new content being shown from Podgy's point of view, with Courtyard in DC. they're just coming in hot and just like hotcakes, I guess, out of the oven. We have sort of the Ancestor, again, another unlock that doesn't necessarily give us anything yet, but as they progress through the seed, certain things that you complete provide progress towards the PP total we have in the bottom right of the trackers. And Podgy is now going to push the mouse. Not only is it an objective, it also contributes to that progression point counter. Probably hoping to get information as soon as possible whilst doing the content that's required of them.
Yeah, speaking of mouse push, doing a really good job there of handling pushing Mini along the wall there. It is not as easy as he makes it look, due to the way that her physics are. She is very cylindrical. So it is very easy to get pushed off when she goes to do her pearl and everything else, or even kind of accidentally start pushing her off to the side. So very nice job there from Podgy.
Mm-hmm. And we're going to come up to the end of the DC area. We'll see what we get. I would assume that Froppy and Podgy are still going to more or less complete shotguns where able. But then I guess the question is, when do you break out of the shotguns, or potentially break out of them early? When would you look to be doing it?
I'm probably gonna at least touch up a few more places for shotguns, but with the way that some of these objectives are lining up, I might see where my stats are kind of lined up coming out of Christmas Town fight, and then doing like the other portion of racking up the the toy soldiers to get some more XP while you would normally go towards PK. And if my stat line is good enough, I would probably just full send Halloween Town. Just because, one, you're going to get really solid progression from both of those encounters, and two, it just gets you one step closer overall to both of, to your overall objective total, because we do need 10 of these 12 objectives completed in order to reach final fights.
Yep. One important note, we saw both of Podgy and Froppy actually in the World Never Was at exactly the same time, but Podgy, recognizing that he didn't have Way to the Dawn, the fastest way to actually leave the World Never Was at that point is to actually go towards the Roxas Arena, because it boots you out straight to the start of Fragment Crossing, which Froppy decided to do the whole glide back. So just a little minor thing to keep in mind for everyone.
Yeah, and we did get a magnet as well, so that might that might kind of entice you a little bit. Again, kind of going along with what you potentially see from your stats coming out of here. Of, you might even push OC out because your magic stats, it's chilling enough. You've got a blizzard, you got a magnet, so you can do some sort of work while you're there. And that Proud Fang gives us Hyenas 2 access.
Okay.
We need We need a
skill in crossbones, and we are in go. That's one item to get us there. Otherwise, it's a bit more of a stretch to be in go.
Yeah, and I'm concerned about what this first hint is going to be too, because reminder for the folks at home, this is a spoiler progression. So what that means is once our runners here fulfill this fight here, they're going to hit the first threshold of their hint being revealed, and it's going to have a world revealed. In this case, Twilight Town getting revealed of its progression contents, showing off a ID disc, membership card, a scimitar, and final form. So both of these runners are going to be probably keeping a very close eye as they're going for any immediate sign of that skill and crossbones, or just find it along the way while you're pushing your objectives, and bada bing, bada boom, profit.
Mm-hmm. It is an interesting hint, though. Unfortunately, the two other objectives we don't have access to are, well, we don't know yet, is HP Demics, which you could, but then Spooky Cave. And Spooky Cave is quite a long push to get through to, especially considering if you snag a skill and crossbones, it's just one visit. It is.
Yeah, I think on paper, looking at this card, like, unless the pages just fall right into your lap, or both membership cards just kind of the same deal, just fall into your lap, you're probably just, like you said, you're keeping an eye out for the skill and crossbones, because that's just both right there for the taking.
Mm-hmm. So we are getting quite a few tools, at least, to facilitate clearing the content as quick as we can. Podgy's going to at least check pre-station fight, whether or not he can snag that membership card that's been hinted. Because that diversifies his options, at least, in terms of what to do. Maybe a consideration where he might prefer to do HP Demics over maybe Hyenas 2, maybe, as a thought, or say the OCP fight. And there's the membership card. So we know that Froppy's following behind and will find the same items. What's your thoughts? Would you go for HP Demics here? And if you do, what would you drop for it?
That's a tough question, honestly, because I think it would kind of just be a little dependent on what I see. Potentially, like, OC could be one of those potentials, just because that is a bit of a push, whereas like Hyenas 2, you would be basically just right there. You'd be able to blitz Hyenas before Scar, and then depending on how you're set up, you could easily get through Scar pretty quickly, and then Hyenas 2 is just right there. OC is more of a trek than anything, so it would just I think it would just be kind of dependent on, like, how quickly can we get there overall.
Yeah. Interestingly, this is probably the first major split what we've seen, where Podgy's gone up to station fight using the Valor form, getting a few quick checks on Valor, maybe trying to nag that final form, as we've seen very often, just right after station, final form likes to show its head. So I can definitely see that, but Froppy choosing to go against that, and leaving before station, continuing their shotgun route instead.
Yeah, because the one thing that would be nice about finding, oh my gosh, okay, so items are just not a problem this seed.
I think that's a second.
Yeah, that's both our money pouches. So we are chilling, and we get crowd control even more so with chicken being found. But if we can find this final form, it would honestly, if you could find a fire even, it would make your screens push really, really valuable, of just going straight in there with you having the magnet, and there it is.
There it is.
So yeah, we find a fire, and screens is just kind of looking mighty tasty, because sure, we have magnet, but we don't have anything really to overall complement that magnet. But final form and fire is a recipe for just annihilating everything in your path.
Yeah. So, as you alluded to earlier, Froppy probably going to 100 Acre, finally going into 100 Acre. But we're going to see Piglet's house now. Obviously, the caveat with HP Demics is we need the other membership card. But we do see an interesting push from Podgy going up the remainder of the Twilight Town for one visit. Likely since he's choosing to do this, probably going to do Twilight Town 2 to get the next hint quickly and get some final levels.
And not only that, but it would be a quick, good source for XP because we're still early on in our levels, but our magic stat is at 32, so the Berserker's fight isn't going to be a problem, so it's going to be a quick in and out. Plus, I like this push as well just because it's still early. You may as well get the free prog, level up your final form, like you mentioned with the TT2 play. But the world's not dead, so you could still find something of value, whether it be a magic or even a summon in this case, just sitting here in TT2, for example. And then, you know, if let's say you find another magnet or you get Stitch, then you might really be enticed to go just get screens done, get juice for the rest of your seed, and just start blitzing.
Yeah. The one thing to note, I guess, is that by doing this push, you know that there is no skill and crossbones here. But we do get a hint off drives. Drives is a blue 0. So there are no important checks there. Doesn't mean we wouldn't find some valuable tools like movement, potential XP boost, or, you know, one of the finishes that we would like. And we nag an extra magic, like you mentioned.
And it's still not done, by the way, which is... So there is stuff in TT3 to no one's surprise.
Yeah. Just go to Twilight Town and grab all your tools that you want. Still want to fire, I would believe. Fire enough of Reflect. We do, as pointed out by chat, there was a Thunder and Shock Charm Plus on the same pop-up for Twilight Town, which is just chef's kiss. You love to see it. Would love to see more Thunders now and more Thunder boosts. But if you're in Podgy's point of view, you find a Reflect. That Hyenas 2 is looking mighty juicy now with that Reflect. Very straightforward.
2, like, pushing out Agrabah now. You could get pretty... you might get super aggressive now. Having that in store for even the likes of PK. If Barrel gets absorbed for... or not Barrel. Barrel. For the chomping portion of PK.
And Gap Closer off of Bailey, slide dash. Podgy definitely happy to see that. And now I guess is the question to shop and where do we start breaking down all of the objectives on the board? If you're a Podgy. The question. Because any of these pushes that aren't hinted could yield an additional skill and crossbones, and then you are just set to go. So he's electing to choose Olympus Coliseum. Probably one of my favorite pushes in recent times, although that's for different reasons. It is pretty big of a commitment. You have to get through Hades escape and then Cerberus to get the bulk of the checks. But once you do that, it's pretty straightforward to get through most of the rest of this.
Yeah, the nice thing about this push, he's gonna get his next hint off of Cerberus. Meanwhile, Froppy here will be finding out about forms here as soon as they complete Bailey fight. So both runners doing a good job of kind of like routing their progression to kind of keep the ball rolling so they can kind of analyze what their next play is going to be, because at any moment that skill and crossbones could just reveal itself, and depending on where it's at, you're full sending it.
Yeah. I guess the question to the chat is, where do you want your skill and crossbones? If you want them to be around for a bit longer than what the off-rip gave us. Put your predictions to chat, I guess. And whilst on that topic, just a reminder to everyone that we are raising money for the American Heart Association. And if you are willing and able, if you could donate, we would much appreciate it.
Got lots of fun things in store to Okay.
And a really big hint showed up with Agrabah.
Oh no. Well,
so
there's one thing that could throw a wrench in this plan. If that skill and crossbones isn't in AG1,
we don't find a fire?
We're stuck.
Yeah, if we don't find a fire and the other one is in Port Royal, you might have to pivot if we don't find a fire anytime soon. Again, that's a little dependent on not finding a fire, but we'll see about whether or not the magics comply, because the one thing about the spoiler prog is that it doesn't hint any magics. And Agrabah being a bit unique in how it is required, it's very likely that you'll see the races check Agrabah 1, and we'll see whether or not the skill and crossbones is in the remainder of the checks there. But it is important to note that you do require the basic 3 elements.
Yeah, I would almost be willing to say probably once you finish up here, you do one of 2 things. You either go and hit up screens, see if you can't find a fire just in case on levels. And I mean, perfect time, you just got an XP boost. So and we had a negative combo I saw while going through all of this, so it's set up pretty well to get some good levels. And I mean, you just happen to find a fire along the way, then AG2, if it came to it, is no longer an issue.
Yep. So we can see Podgy's utilizing Valor form whilst fighting OC Demix to get the additional check off of Valor. It was the MPS Stagger. The hits still count when you hit all the splashes and the reaction commands, so that's an important thing to note. Trying to just make use of your forms, even though it's a blue 0, you never know if you can find a useful ability off of it.
Haha, glides.
In the meantime, we see Froppy actually pushing through Beast Castle. I think this is a bit of an interesting push, Blind.
Yeah, we're not going towards any objectives, and so far through the initial shotgun, we have only found a reflex. So, and this could be just a bit of a gamble play of kind of like you're taking a shot in the dark because you know, like you see currently what you're working with, and you're potentially just hoping that maybe I score what I'm needing, and that wherever the other stuff is, either A, it doesn't get hinted right away, or B, it's just buried deep somewhere.
Yeah. You never know. Maybe the Beast Castle has the other skill and crossbones, and that'd be the faster one if Agrabah 2 holds the other one. So I guess that is the potential. You did snag the other gap closer, though. So we've seen Slide Dash and Flash Step. So that's definitely not missing in the seed.
Yep. And speaking of Agrabah, getting the deeper push now from Podgy, obviously knows about the skill and crossbones, so is probably I like this, doing this now in the event of not finding the fire, because then it's like, okay, in the meantime, go push my other OBJs and hope those worlds hope those worlds aren't dead first off, because until it gets revealed, you don't know if it's just done. Like, for example, Halloween Town having the cure be the last thing of importance there.
Yeah.
And who knows, maybe there's a crazy reality where TT3 just swallowed up all of the fires.
I mean, I wouldn't put it past it. It's happened before. There's also a cruel reality where 2 of your fires are locked in Port Royal and the other one's just very obnoxious to get to.
Also true.
But we'll see, because we are now at the ambush.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and exactly. There is another skill in crossbow, so maybe not the one in Agrabah is the one you should be going for. But for now, we will get the next hint of Podgy's side. And
it's just there. So Podgy is already in go mode. So it is time now to just hold W, go get your stats, and blitz your content. Oh, and we have Duck Flare, so we have a lot of firepower here on Podgy's side. Meanwhile, we are seeing the hyenas one push. I don't know for sure yet if Froppy's just gonna go straight to hyenas 2 with this, but we'll have to wait and see. I imagine probably with them going to this now, is probably just sending it one to get some prog, but just go take care of it.
I think for Podgy, probably also just doesn't want to waste time traveling around the Garden of Assemblage. Whilst you're here in this visit, just clear it out whilst it's not too extra time consuming. And that's just a quick finish with good friend Duck Flare. So unfortunate for Froppy. At the same time, we get to see some anger come out of Scar. So losing a little bit of time there. And looks like Podgy's chosen your play of go for screens. I think both of screens and Port Royal would have been, I think, valid options, I think, at this time.
I think doing the screens now is probably just allowing for him
to their menu after and just
because he could, because remember he hasn't touched Pride Lands yet, so there is still a part where he could just score the mem card on levels if there is one on levels anyway, and just decide, hey, I haven't touched this world at all. I'm already basically halfway to Demix. Let's just go for that instead.
Yeah, and it wouldn't be that far to get to HB Demix since you've cleared Bailey. It's just a quick glide through 1-2 force fights and you're on your way.
Oh, soldiers kind of not playing nice here for a moment, taking their sweet time. The Strafer also is taking its sweet time, just dancing around.
circling menacingly, but not actually engaging. Okay, and let's see how the leveling goes for Podgy, whilst Froppy pushes objectives out with currently Prison Keeper and likely going to just go through to Oogie afterwards, get through both order scrollers. I do think though that Podgy will be able to make up a ton of. Well, this is like he's probably arguably ahead, but he's going to make more time with the extra stats gained from screens. Is an important thing to note, but we'll see how this goes. Because screens, if you're not careful, will kill you if you're not paying attention. So something to just note. And you want to talk about potentially what the options were with the negative combo? Because it doesn't look like the negative combo was used. You wanted to use that instead?
Yeah, so equipping the negative combo will allow you to at least get into your explosion a little bit quicker. It's not necessarily too big of a deal at this point in time, just because we have the Shock Charm Plus and our magic set is also super juiced, so we're still able to one shot. But if we wanted to potentially like slightly conserve on magic, although items are also kind of not really an issue at this point.
Yeah.
But let's say like in a short item situation, having a neg combo you can never go wrong with, just because it does allow you to get to that finisher quicker, and with the stats being where they were going into screens, the explosion would just make quick work. Speaking of some lovely things, DC has another 2 pages, and 100 Acre has our lovely limit forms. So pages are Spooky's not looking too hot. if that had been an actual option on the table here.
Yeah, it doesn't look too enticing, especially with the fact that we've already seen up to the first 2 pages, like Whose House and Piglets, and we hadn't found that limit form. Although what that does enable is Froppy to check the next page to potentially find limit form. But if you're in Podgy's shoes, you're likely never checking pages any further. And we make quick work of Hostile Program. And I guess we might just go around the Geo if we're Podgy.
Yeah, or probably from here, just go straight into PR, and then from there into Halloween Town, just because it's literally your next door neighbor.
Yep. That's all 3 Reflection Known. No.
Oh, and an auto limit, so...
That's even less incentive to check for a limit. It's nice to have the actual limit form, but auto limit as a quick potential finish for the seed on Final Zem is an option that's on the table here now with auto limit found. Especially as viewers, we know that SCOM is just there on the table, so it's easy enough to get there and get into that HP requirement.
So yeah, using our good pals Chicken here to pull enemies in for the ultimate crowd control, because we have Baby Magnet, so it's not as effective. And hey, a Wild Torn page in PR along with Royal Summons. Okay.
I guess if you want
and the fire, so
okay.
So remember the fire talks earlier?
Yeah, there was one.
No.
Hopefully not another one.
Oh man. If you see another one, you're just thankful that Skill and Crossbones is initially an AG one, because hoy.
We do pick up the Wisdom Form right before the Isle minute fight, and I guess at this point we are just getting through it just to get our objectives done. Not trying to do anything too fancy from Podgy's point of view. Froppy picks up the Skill and Crossbones in Agrabah 1, which unfortunately for them is actually bad news, because of the additional push into Beast Castle, which I just don't think Podgy is ever going to step into.
Yeah, the way that the seed started, it was almost like you pretty much just were meant to just kind of just push your way through the objectives that were at hand. get whatever you could out of your shotguns, and then just start going to town. Because I think this is probably the first seed through this event where you had what, 70% of your OBJs just off rip.
Yep. That's right. And turns out one of those locations had put you to 9 immediately.
Mm-hmm.
So we got to 10 real quick.
Yeah.
Although, for the racer's point of view, technically speaking, Podgy still has the chance of diverting away from Hyenas 2, as you mentioned. Like, even this PR push could have a mem card, and if so, it's faster to check HP Demix probably than going into Pride Lands at all. But Froppy's picked up Reflegger for themselves, and likely chasing behind Podgy through Royal.
Wow. Levels also had Levels not having anything either, and then LOD also no signs of progression, but does still have stuff there.
Means whatever's there was likely never going to be picked up this seed, because they checked the shotgun, and that's as far as we were going to get.
So I gotta ask you this at least. So, if you were to be in the shoes, right, knowing at least at this point in time you have a go mode, are you continuing to check anything like abilities or anything like of the matter, or are you just kind of just full going, kind of just ditching everything else to get through?
I think I check ability chests because of the potential glide. I don't want to get too glide dipped for too long. I will pick up forms if I see them, because forms can be just invaluable in either resetting your the MP bar, stuff like that. But as a whole, there's going to be a lot more things I will be skipping once I'm in Go. I will skip every single stat up chest. I will skip every single accessory chest. I will skip obviously the junk chests, but I'm also skipping the Keyblade chests, anything like that. And if I miss out on something like Flare Force, which turns out they've already got, that's just something I'd have to live with. That's my opinion on what I would take.
And that's definitely a good thought. Like, every runner has their has their thing, especially when they're in go mode, and that and Podgy also making fantastic work there of PK, just annihilating again. Final form just is truly incredible. like
It's truly
when you're using it at its like fullest potential, you can do so many incredible things.
The game doesn't intend you to have it here, but Rando gives you the ability or the chance to have it, and when you have it, it does so much work. When you even have an inkling of what you're doing with it, whether that be the final glide shenanigans with the strength stat, the various usages of the magic, and the combos that you can use to reset. We noticed Froppy actually doing an interesting thing, which is initiating the barrels, then appears to have skipped the first encounter. I think that's a little interesting. I haven't done screens.
I think in their mind, their magic stat being where it's at and everything, they're just kind of saying, for now, I can get through this no problem. So I don't necessarily see the need to um, to do that fight. And we do see Podgy now that he's through Oogie and through PR, which we knew from Froppy's side that there was no mem card because they had already done Oogie earlier. But at this point now, with PR being completely done for the first visit,
Halloween Town done,
he is now just going ahead and taking what's in front of him, which I think now at this point he's saying, I don't care about anything else really.
Yeah. I guess the only question for Podgy at this point would be, after Hyenas 2, do you choose to grab bulkies to get your strength stat to 40 or not? I would argue you could just go. Not much value in checking it.
But, I think in his shoes as well, this is pretty much right up his alley. With his any percent background and like just general vanilla background. The stat line here is it's basically his stomping grounds.
Yeah. And even fortunate enough to have the additional Valor form, which we know he loves to utilize in final fights. So he's just well in his element. Just got a few more fights to get through. And these should be pretty elementary to him. Whereas Froppy has some decisions to make. Still electing to go to Olympus Coliseum for the OC objective. I think if I was in Froppy's point of view, really should have heavily considered screens for the double objective first, I think. But I can understand this push too, because of not knowing whether or not a mem card is here. But it's a little less valuable, I believe, at this point when you have set up for Hyenas 2.
I think looking at what Froppy's doing, I think it's just kind of continuing to try to get themselves set up for screens. Because we do have to remember, Froppy doesn't have Explosion, which he'll get going through here.
Yes, it is on Cerberus.
So if Froppy were to just send screens now, he would really have to find a way to eke out those stats.
Yep.
Lancer's kind of going a little haywire here, but getting through it. Podgy now on his way to Hyenas 2.
Yep.
It's gonna go by very quick with with our lovely drill attack and
all the magic
throw in some
have.
magic. Yeah. Also
welcome in.
Yeah. Mr. Silenza with the raid. Thank you guys very much. Welcome in, everyone.
This is a top 8 matchup between Podgy and Froppy. Turns out it was a bit of a quick seed with, as you can see, Explosion off of Cerberus, but 7 of the objectives just being available off rip with a skill and crossbones. Just in Agrabah 1, which is on the way to one of those objectives, leaving us with just a very, very quick seed, with Podgy entering the door just past of 40 minutes. So we are looking at a very quick time from Podgy, should no mistakes occur in final fights. I will say I don't think I got to see Magic lock on this seed, although I might be wrong.
I don't believe so either, and that could have also been in part what Podgy was potentially searching for, given how much he really likes his magic lock-on Trinity combo.
But even without that, this should go quite quickly with the magics that we've got. So,
yeah, and
already in. Yeah, go on.
Oh, I was just gonna say, and you saw Podgy go into the corner there, and basically what he's trying to do, at least at the start there, is make it to where these nobodies are a little bit more grouped up, since we don't have at least Magnera or Magnega. We do have Chicken, but the unfortunate reality for that is we only have 6 drive, due to how quick this all went, and also just the fact that all of the quote unquote stat up chests just had nothing there.
Yeah. Also, the seed went through really quickly, so you didn't get to check a huge bulk of your checks in the seed. So you really didn't get much of an opportunity to see many opportunities for stat ups anyway. Which is notable, because if you look at the health bar, it's really not as big as we sometimes see in beginner.
Yeah, we're hovering around max HP, at least on the crit side of things.
Yeah.
And our MP bar is tiny.
Tiny.
But gonna get through the first getting through engine core here, and then I'm gonna go ahead and do this. Because we also have Duck Flare here, but I mean, isn't even needed. The magic stat, the combos that we have available,
the combos reflect. Yep, it just obliterates Armored Xemnas on his chair. And we're already in our Armored Xemnas 2. See, normally we would try to play the fun sometimes if it was fresh faces on how many domes, but I think that's way too many. I think at this point.
Yeah. And this is Podgy's bread and butter, between World That Never Was and the final fights especially. It's like, if I were to say like some of his best sections, I think World That Never Was and final fights is where he really makes his money.
Yeah.
And being able to get fast building here, so we're right there on the doorstep of saying hello to our favorite zebra. And
even having Reflera just makes that even more simplistic to handle. Instead of having to do the minor additional steps during laser phase, it's going to go by pretty quick. And let's just watch the show for what he's got for us.
Yep. And you saw, by the way, him sneaking in an item there during the dance. The way that he approaches the initial dance allows for him to keep low to the ground. And with that, just immediately we're done. And that is GG's to Podgy, who will be moving on to the semifinals.
Yeah. To answer PCDC's question in chat, this probably is the lowest time we've seen in BBT so far. The objectives lined up and the tools lined up as well, so that also helps when that happens. So I guess whilst we're closing out, we'll watch Froppy at least probably go into go mode and then go from there.
Yeah, a lot of things lined up in this seed to make it a very super fast seed. Like we mentioned at the top of the hour when we sent the racers off, the fact that 7 of your OBJs were just already available is insane. And then you got the hint for the skill and crossbones and AG fairly early. And then we just walked into the Proudfang while we were kind of just getting things set up for Prison Keeper. So a lot of things it was just one of those seeds where everything is just there, and that is the rando. Sometimes it's just all right there at your lap. Other times, as we've seen from some of our matchups during event 2, sometimes you gotta go digging for it.
Yeah, but not this time.
Yeah,
ain't no digging required here.
But yeah, no, still amazing stuff from both of our runners. I wouldn't necessarily say like extra content because it was so early in the seed. You're kind of still fishing around, and the HB1 was just getting things set up in case you found the other mem card to go do Demix. The TT1 push was, at least for Podgy, he had final form, so his only 2 places that he had access for leveling final form was TT2 and HB.
Yeah. But a lot of at least the TT2 or the TT pushes, and even HB to an extent, was a bit of an information push. So you can't, and HB1 was not really too much of extraneous stuff because you are setting up for the potential HB Demix play if that shows up. So
yeah, what Podgy said, like with the way that his prog point routing was, that was exactly what it was. Every little thing he did when he was finishing up, I'm honestly blanking on it because I want to say it was HB, but I know that it was Froppy at that point in time. But the stuff that Podgy was doing at the time had him set up for just straight up info on his next move.
Yeah, he was doing Olympus Coliseum, I believe.
Yes, that's
the objective.
Right. Yeah.
And that's Froppy now going into final fights. Even though Froppy did the additional BC1 push, still it's still a very decent time, all things considered. Doing some additional plays for information, but potentially just losing some time to not being so fortunate with finding Explosion through OC1 as soon as Podgy, and then that's just putting yourself into a position to push screens, like you mentioned.
Yeah, no, both of them did do HB1, but it was at the time of comparison. They were both on the cusp of getting their next hint. I was just trying to remember like the time frame. But yes, you see Froppy doing the exact same here, putting themselves into a corner to make this a little bit nicer for themselves.
Goofy wasn't being the nicest in that corner, deciding to take the exact corner spot though.
Yeah. Goofy said, "This is my hidey corner."
You want a hidey hole? No, that's my hidey hole. Porsche. And going into engine core to finish out.
Yeah, don't forget, folks, we do have another matchup coming here in about a half hour between Tibbs and Dot Dot.
Yep.
So don't want to miss that. Stick around as Froppy finishes up their seed. We'll give a quick view at the bracket before we kind of take a quick break to kind of collect ourselves and also get the next race set for action. But also, once again, we are also raising money for the American Heart Association. We do have the donation link pinned in the chat as well, along with everything there. So please donate if you can. Anything is beyond helpful. Plus, if you want to see any of the team that is putting on the BB2 event, go through some fun stuff. We have some lovely incentives.
Do you know of what the next incentive is, IBA? Because I don't think I was here for that announcement.
I believe our next incentive that we have on the table, which is the 2,000 mark, is basically the graduated campers going up against members of the TO team in a relay race.
Oh, that sounds exciting.
And the teams, if that were to happen, the three from the graduated campers group also happen to be part of the TO staff in Bob, Flo, and Tippy, and they would be taking on the TO team, and we'll keep that a secret for the time being, just to kind of build the suspense.
So if you want to see that, you can do your bit and donate with the link posted in chat. We are seeing Froppy finish out here. Took an unfortunate death to Ahmed Zemnis 1. But coming up to their own Zebra Man fight. Do we have any additional things to talk about with regards to the seed, IBA? Or okay, you're good.
No, it's all you, Boko.
Hi, Yuki. So we
hello, everyone.
Sudden third commentator.
You summoned me when you brought up the incentive.
Oh, fair enough.
So the good thing about the incentive will be, yes, it's a relay race. We're not releasing who the TO team members are right now. However, I will say this. You will get some very, very good, insightful commentary, because the commentary duos throughout the relay will be a different member of the TO team for each leg, and a different member of the graduated class or graduated campers for each leg as well. So you really will get that interaction of graduated campers and TOs. So it would be a very good time for sure. I see though we have Froppy now in finals them here, and getting through early parts of the fight without too much issue.
Yep. Their magic stat was loaded up pretty quickly this seed, so it didn't have to take too long in screens to get up there, and we're just coming out to a few more reflects. We'll just see whether or not Froppy hits the dome skip.
Goes a little early there. Needed probably one more good reflect in order to actually get to the point of setting up the dome skip, but probably will end up using the all's end here into the double reflect and back into another session if they get the hits here, which unfortunately did not seem to be the case.
Yeah.
Goes immediately back into the session.
Do they have? Oh, they just have enough items for another full MP bar refresh during a limit. Just need to make sure not to target, actually target the real Xemnas.
Not gonna get damage here. Think we're about to see a Sparrowheart cast, and
Okay.
this is gonna be close.
Yeah, it's gonna be close to getting a dome skip or not. Ooh.
Ooh, that's gonna be unfortunate. I think they're gonna get the dome here. Because all's end can. Oh yeah, definitely pushed.
Yeah,
it
all's
out of
end
bounds.
can't finish him off. But still, big GGs for Froppy for finishing out the seed. Looks like they might be trying to go for another attempt for a dome skip. Just figuring they want to close out the event with a dome skip at the very least. So trying once more. Was able to weave 3 reflects hits during the dance.
Get a lot of extra damage before going into laser phase here.
Fortunately, I think through the session, just one bar of health too early. So going to set up for the same. Didn't catch him on this round.
Yeah, but it looks like we'll be pushing into the critical mass here. All's end's gonna hit. Put them down to 1 HP. So the double reflect into session should get the kill there with the dome
That is
skip.
GG's.
Yeah. All right, we're going to go ahead now and show off where we're at with the bracket. We've got Podgy moving on to top 4 once again. Docs moved on yesterday, and we still got 2 remaining matchups. We got the one coming up here, which is Tibbs versus Dot Dot, and then we got on the schedule for tomorrow afternoon, Plixus versus Revelox, and that will decide our top 4 from here. But this is definitely coming down to the wire, you know. But we're seeing some really fast seeds. I would definitely say, Moko, I know you were involved with quite a bit of the playtesting on these settings.
Yep.
I don't think I saw a single seed that jetted that fast.
No, I think I saw a seed that was like 5 minutes slower, but this was faster than that. This was very quick. So props to both the races for clearing it as quick as they did.
No, absolutely. So the big thing we got now is we're gonna go ahead and take a break. We're gonna get everything set up for the next race, and we'll be back here in about 25-ish minutes, and we will catch you all on the other side of that.
Yeah, don't forget to hydrate.
Welcome back, everybody, for the second race we got of this evening, which is Tibbs versus Dot Dot. This is Uki Miyoshi, or Uki, as that'll tend to be called, joined in the booth with Moko. How's it going, Moko?
I'm back once again. I'm all right. That seed was a bit fast, so hopefully we've got a little bit more of something more normal. And before we check on, I'm going to let the races go.
Yeah, go ahead and get them prepped to go. So we've got the bracket up here real quick just to go over it. Podgy beating Froppy just a little bit ago. Moves on to top 4. Unverse moved on yesterday after a victory over PCDC. We've got this matchup of Tibbs versus Dot Dot going on now, and then Plixus versus Revelox in the last quarterfinals. The runners are underway already. What do you think of this card, Moko?
Well, we've got some spicy stuff on it this time. We've got limits. That bottom row is the first thing I look at. Relatively deep, those are. Limit 7. Your form 7 enjoys get to rejoice for a bit, potentially. We've got U-Chip Heat as another very long objective, and Sephiroth and Zexion. So all significant pushes for any of those.
Yeah, but you've already got access to Sephi. They started double mem card here, so we got access at the start here to STT, BC, PR all the way to PR2. All of Hollow Bastion, and they ended up with a Thunder in their opening sets in the GOA as well. So there's a lot of stuff that's hit the boards already.
Well, on the topic of Thunder, we found another Thunder in the World Never Was shotgun. So we're starting off with Thundara, quickly invoking Zeus as soon as we get off rip. So we'll see Tibbs do the initial death abuse with Beast Castle, with Dot Dot following behind because they did the World Never Was first.
Well, there's the Sword of the Ancestor in the courtyard, so we're gonna get a lot of unlocks here early from the looks of it. Or we're gonna, or we potentially see an early STT. Like there's only so many routes that they have to go with their stats and everything early on. PR, you've got the Barbosa objective, but you tend to want to go there with 24, 25-ish magic if you can. So you want to get some leveling done. Because of that, you're not going to usually see a push there. You've got mem card up through Ansem Study is not too bad in HB, but then afterwards you're going to want a little bit of stats, especially if you're going to go push Demix and everything through 1K to set up Sephi. So
we do see the early Bone Fist in the BC shotgun though, so that is a place to get some quick early levels, with Dot Dot getting that really early magnet as well on level 2.
Yeah. We see Stitch and the Bone Fist is brought up, so we've got a good amount of starting things here. I really like the fact that we got the early Bone Fist, Candy Cane Lane, the Force Fight, and even some of the stuff beforehand is really strong for getting quick levels, to get your stat increased. Typically, you'll see a lot of crit runners. If like it's all first visit shotguns, they'll do their Pride lands into the Death Abuses, ending with the Halloween Town one. And then taking advantage of leveling in that area to get up to like level 13 or level 14 in a seed, just to get a lot of stats early on if they can.
Yeah.
So
We see Dot Dot pulling out Stitch to try and use the Thundara to their advantage to get through the Thresholder fight.
Yep.
Probably pushing for that beast objective.
Yep. And we do see Tibbs stepping into Halloween Town after having checked the first 3 of LODs. So,
yeah. See if Tibbs goes ahead and tries to grasp all that extra XP from Dance Core in these early Halloween Town rooms.
I really do like what Dot Dot did there. Goes up on the balcony in the room to avoid any attacks and just spams Sundara on the Thresholder door just to phase push quickly to end the fight in a safe manner. So,
yeah. Avoiding those gargoyles, which especially early on hurt quite a bit.
Yep.
And as you mentioned, Tibbs grabbing some of that early XP in Halloween Town, even before Candy Cane Lane, and we find a glide for all our troubles.
We do. The other thing is level 7. We do see we're gonna get some strength in the first few levels compared to Dot Dot's 7 strength. So but we're not seeing a big increase in magic for the first few levels.
No. Still no luck through to level 9. Getting quite a bit in the defense compartment from 8 and 9. So that's not what you love to see usually in beginner, especially.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, we get the gap closer, well, at least one of the gap closers we're looking for in Flash Step. Getting through the minigame in Beast Castle.
Yep.
And we'll see whether or not Beast or the chest behind him has anything of note. Obviously, an objective.
Ooh, Tibbs glide 4 because glide in the opening shotgun of Halloween Town and the other glide in Santa's house. So we're gonna see how long Tibbs potentially gets to glide diff here. If Dot Dot makes the quick turn to Halloween Town here, will very quickly catch up and not have to deal with the glide deficit.
Yep. It is something to be very noted that the glide difference, albeit might not feel like it's as insane of an advantage, it is huge. But Halloween Town is being covered here by Dot Dot by going in immediately afterwards. So we do see Tibbs entering Twilight Town. We get to see new information from Tibbs's point of view. With the ice cream that was picked up from the lab, and acquiring a quick once more, helping with some of that protection that we might want, especially with Sephiroth being available already and looming large. We do pick up another ice cream though in the woods, and that enables us to get to Twilight Town too. So that's an objective that's also now available, combined with that Beast objective that was already completed by Dot Dot. We combine that with the PR objective, and we've got a few that can be done, but we're obviously looking for more. And let's see whether or not Tibbs elects to push through to the station or not. The movement would indicate that would be the case, although a little more on the difficult side with 6 defense and a few HP. I think it's 1 or 2 HP ups gained so far. So this will take a little bit of time, but I can understand this, especially because a push through to the remainder of Merlin's Tower will net you that first hint, which is oh so valuable. Meanwhile, Dot Dot has 2 hints already, and we'll see whether or not Dot Dot, not only have they closed the glide advantage that Tibbs has had so long, whether or not they will follow into Twilight Town, but instead chooses to go to LOD. Haven't done the shotgun yet. And Tibbs has got our first hint. Our first hint is for Olympus Coliseum, revealing yet another Beast Claw and the Way to the Dawn. The Way to the Dawn being important because we do have Psyx as an objective. Sorry, the Wizard Tower Square. My apologies. That we have, and we'll see Tibbs push through, likely considering the push through to Twilight Town 2, with the tools available at hand. We do have that Thundara, previously mentioned, a magnet to help with some of that crowd control. Albeit we would have potentially liked to have final form for this, but you can see from Tibbs' point of view that trying to get it in and out in one go without having to cross the GOA is potentially the consideration there. Meanwhile, we see Dot Dot having entered the Holobastion 1 sequence, picking up a cure.
Yeah, and Bailey fight with Thundara is still going to go relatively fast. I think the biggest thing is, wants to do this, at least get up to like Ansem Study, maybe set himself up for making the push later on. Also, not having the prog points or just getting the prog points for like our first hint, which is OC. Which doesn't, it gives us access to
IX.
To Psyx and Roxas. So if OC opens up, there may be a push there from these runners.
Yep.
So
albeit they still can't even get into OC yet, but Hollow Bastion 2, known for having a lot of checks, is a totally understandable push from Dot Dot here. At the very least, going to Ansem Study, there's a lot of free checks without having to do the corridors fight. I guess it's an interesting question here, Uki, where would you consider pushing corridors yet, or would you try to pivot to clear more of your shotguns and maybe do, say, PR first, like Tibbs is doing?
I think both plays are perfectly content here. You have the stats to do core skip. So you can check a majority of core if you get through the corridors fight. Your stats are very low if you want to do Demix and beyond. So that if you're not going to core skip, I think your best bet is just to go back and do more shotguns at this point. But it is definitely something to consider.
Yeah.
So. Dot is leaving here right before corridors fight. And is now heading into Twilight Town, while Tibbs continues to push in Port Royal here.
Yep. I think with the 22 in his magic stat, with a Thundara, and might just be content with pushing based on that alone.
Yeah.
Also,
I'd say I can definitely respect that. I think it's a good play. You're gonna one shot the Pirates, especially if you go through minute fight here. I think the one concern you have is Tibbs is you don't have like a form that you can use to just potentially get yourself an MP refill, and you're down to 1 ether currently. So your resources are going to be a little questionable. You should be fine for minute fight, especially since you have access to our homie Stitch. But that is something to consider. Tibbs considering just doing the glide cheese here to,
I think
kind of nullify this.
He's doing is trying to glide in the corner to try to group them up so that he gets use out of his jackpot.
Yeah, and it's working very nicely so far. So now Donald and Goofy are not very much appreciating it, but Tibbs's wallet and XP certainly are. So. And we got Dot Dot here trying to finish a death abuse at the station fight.
Which, unfortunately, with 6 defense is a little slow with this much HP.
Yeah, I almost wonder if it would have been faster to just get the hit count at this point. But it is something to consider, like in either direction. The other thing, Goofy almost ruined it.
Yep.
that potion was going up in the air as Dot Dot transitioned out. So, but a Goofy had Goofy actually landed at had Goofy landed that would have been really bad for the death abuse.
Yeah.
So now we have Tibbs on the boat fight.
Yep. Pretty sure he's just full steam ahead on pushing through to Barbosa at this point. Don't see any probable reason for Tibbs to stop this path of just get through all these fights right now and then move on to the next objective, which might... Yeah.
Fantasia there in the boat fight, so that's good. Tibbs now going and checking. Flare Force was in the shot for 100, so buys the weapon to give Donald Flare Force here. Mm-hmm. And then is now also loaded up on enough ethers to go for a little bit because of the jackpot during the minute fight.
We are now seeing our first foray into the Agrabah shotgun because we did get the Agrabah unlock in Twilight Town, but we had yet to see them delve inside. We do have the objective in Agrabah to keep in mind, so we'll see whether or not Dot Dot pushes through past the Boo and the rest of the shotgun, whilst Tibbs gets through the barrels and Barbosa.
Well, Tibbs is attempting to get through barrels and now does. Yep. Yeah, we've got Barbosa going to come up here in just a moment on Tibbs' side. I don't see. We haven't. Or there's a couple of magics. Oh, Magnera now. Magnega. Wait, three magics and a blizzard. So you have Blizzara too.
Ooh.
I think the only a drive gauge increase. I guess the one thing you're questioning is where are the drives? Oh, there's the form, and it's limit of all forms.
Wow,
it's the one that you actually have an objective toward.
Yeah, I guess now the magics that they're yearning for, it'll be Reflect. Would love runners would love to see it, especially with Sephiroth on the board.
Yeah, I think it is the one that you are still looking at this point. I think you pretty much have everything else you want / need when it comes to magics here. Maybe off second fire, because fire really good for STT if you don't have the limit form, which Dot Dot does. Dot Dot having a little bit of a struggle here in the Abu escort. Took a couple of hits. But still does get through. Now we got Tibbs following up into early Agrabah here, trying to get through the death abuse. So one thing to note, this is one of the reasons that a lot of runners will do Pride Lands into Agrabah for shotgunning when it comes to crit. If they have both worlds, is because you want to leave them on their default attacks for both those worlds, specifically because of Goofy. Yep. Goofy in Agrabah, if you have him on Sora attack, he does have a chance of blocking the attacks that you're trying to use to death abuse through, which is what happened for Tibbs there a little bit.
Yep.
If you do not have that to worry about, then it's much faster of a death abuse. So That is something to keep in mind. Tibbs now going to find all these magics and is probably going to be like, what in the world did I just, run into?
What is this
here?
room? He's like, what is this room? But at the same time, we have a very big, well, it's not a big hint, but it is an important hint, and it's a hint for levels, showing that there's a Valor form on levels. We don't know how deep that is on levels, but that contributes with 3 more to his knowledge and soon to Dot's knowledge to go to reach that limit 7 potential objective. It's still a little far-reaching so far with what they know, so it's just something that they will keep in the back of their mind. And we'll see whether or not Tibbs chooses to push past the Abu escort, but we do see Dot right now going on and clearing the Twilight Town 2 Berserkers fight, which is the top left objective. Unfortunately, gets caught by the Berserkers going for the Ragnarok.
Unfortunately, this fight does become very difficult when you don't have the stats to just bully them or bully the Berserkers during this last phase of the fight. So, but Dot does make it through. We do see though that Tibbs is a entire hint set ahead, so getting a lot of objectives here early. I think the biggest thing for that is because Dot did make the push to HB2, and there's not as much progression in HB as there is pushing PR1.
Say Barbosa. Unless you elect to fight the core fights, for example, which would give you a plethora of progression points, but I think that'd be super risky considering the kit, or even though you have Stitch.
Yeah.
We can see that both of them have leveled limits so far, but no important checks found. With Dot on limit 3 and Tibbs on limit 2.
Yeah, Tibbs also just trying to very quickly get through the treasure room for the completion mark. I don't know if we're going to see him leave after checking the treasure room itself. We see there's TT3 access. We talked about some check density in worlds. We've also talked about where are these forms. There's a good place for forms and leveling.
Yep. So, especially with what's been hinted so far, and certain other places not having forms. This is definitely a good play, in my opinion. We find Light and Darkness off Oathkeeper. So, to our knowledge, it might have been off of Twilight Town 2.
I believe it was. Now we see Tibbs here having a little bit easier time with the TT2 fight, just with the added stats, and gets through without too much difficulty. Yeah, I believe the Oathkeeper was here at the last check. So,
No.
Interesting. So let's see where Tibbs.
Or it may have been Beast Castle. Not entirely too sure.
That's also a possibility.
Yeah.
Tibbs going into the concourse, and like we said, more time to check the TT.
So far, just finding a page.
And another cure.
And the OC unlock that we mentioned has a bit of importance with that. Way to the Dawn being hinted in OC.
Disney Castle being hinted. Disney Castle having Master Form and both Proud Fangs, so it's gonna be a bit of required content there.
Yeah, it's pretty locked up so far, as far as we know. Tiz probably hoping to find something here whilst on the way to that location in Disney Castle and Times River. I think if you're the runners right now, are you trying to just still acquire as much progression? Are you trying to just take out the objectives that you have available? Obviously, trying to do both is the ideal.
I mean, both is the ideal. But I do think looking for world unlocks right now has a lot of merit, especially if you can get yourself into good leveling locations, because as we said so far, we don't know everything that's on levels, but we do know that Valor form being there is going to be huge for your completion. Also, just trying to get prog points quickly, I think is not a bad thing, because you can get your information hinted a lot faster and just be focused on where do you have to go for this content at this point.
Yep. As we're clearing out all of the remainder checks in Twilight Town 3, do you think you would just check the beam but then just leave Twilight Town in its state because of that potential Valor form check that we might need to find pretty deep? Or would you want to check Betwixt for that progression?
I personally, I think Betwixt takes a bit, so I would rather leave it. Yes, it's good progression, but you also have to consider the fact that you need the leveling spot if you're going to try to get the Valor eventually. If you're just content with limit 7 is probably off your table, then I don't think it's a terrible idea to just consider pushing it. But even then, this is a good master form leveling spot, good final form leveling spot once you have those. So there's a lot of things you can get that are of high value from going to back to TT3. It's probably one of the few spots where I am kind of against it's a personal thing where I'm more of against pushing Betwixt unless I need to.
Yeah.
We don't have data rocks.
Yes. I'm definitely we don't have data axle, right? So it's less incentive to push something like that. Obviously, it's something to keep in mind, more important in our next event in Path. But since Betwixt isn't on the board, we're also less incentivized in that sense. Tibbs is now following suit with Dot Dot, forcing final, but in a different location. We're using Candy Cane Lane compared to Dot Dot using the World Never Was entrance.
And Candy Cane Lane is fractionally faster because you do almost immediately spawn the enemies. It does take a few extra moments to get the shadows in the World That Never Was to spawn to cause you to be in fight sequence. So I do like the play from Tibbs. Either one is a perfectly viable source though, but it's just that little bit of min-maxing that you potentially get to do there.
So now we're seeing Tibbs go through the Hollow Bastion sequence. I have a feeling that Tibbs will most likely actually push through corridors, considering the stats and what's available to him. So we likely probably will see him backfill all of the Hollow Bastion content that we've seen so far, with Dot Dot doing all that was seen already in Agrabah so far.
I agree with you. I think Tibbs is going to do corridors. I question the potential that Tibbs is just going to push through all of HB and just set it up, the prep for Sephi.
Yeah.
There's a lot of prog points from Demix and beyond that you definitely can take advantage of for your information here. You're setting up an objective. You're going to get more levels. I don't foresee that being a bad play in the slightest. Also, with what Tibbs has, Tibbs is getting a lot more out of like clear speed for some of these fights. That Bailey was just so much faster because of the Magnega and the crowd control you get out of it.
And having limit form.
Correct. So, but I definitely do think that there is a reasonable chance that Tibbs may just push the entirety of Hollow Bastion here.
If you're pushing the entirety of Hollow Bastion, though, would you prefer skipping, or would you prefer fighting core, or just not visiting core? What's the play from your point of view?
I think if you're planning to go all the way down, finish 1K, it's okay to skip core for now. I don't think it's necessarily a bad idea to go into core, but at that point, I'm definitely not core skipping up. I'm not risking the final chest to save a few potential seconds. And on top of it, the little bit of extra stats that you would get from, defeating everything in the core fights just still feels like it's too much value at this point.
Yep. I think one difference I want to point out that will be between Dot and Tibbs for this Twilight Town 3 push. Dot will have final form to not only level but also make quick work of that mansion fight. So we might find some interesting things off of drive still with it being unhinted. But I totally agree. I think you want to fight core, especially with progression points being rewarded for fighting through core. And you still want hints because we're still tentatively held out from a few of our objectives.
Yeah, I mean, tentatively, like you're still nowhere near go mode. You still need more forms. You still have to find both DC unlocks because your Proud Fang is locked there. And if you're not going to chase after the forms, like DCTR and your start of Pride Lands is definitely going to become a requirement.
I think we're coming out to a very potential interesting situation where if we don't find access on our route to Disney Castle at all, we might have to skip both of those objectives and take everything else out.
Well, the problem is if you don't find royal summons at all, you are locked out of too many objectives here, because you can't get into Pride Lands. You can't get that master form to get that form 7.
Yeah.
So I almost feel like when you're at that point, you're going to be like, you're just going to simply be, hey, what am I going to sacrifice here? Because I have to go chase this guaranteed, and this is going to set up this and that, like, that are quicker. At that point, like, skipping both Roxas and Syx may not feel like a bad idea if, like, you end up having to push almost all of, like, Olympus Coliseum. And you've pushed all of Hollow Bastion already to set up Sephi, I mean,
So we got new hints because that Demix was pushed out, like you mentioned, probably with the intent to clear 1K, and we get really big information with regards to the World Never Was that we're talking about. We already knew about the first one in Olympus Coliseum, but now we know about the other one, which is in Space Paranoids, and we know Space, at least on Piglet, doesn't give us that unlock towards SP. So
You ready for the bigger concern on this?
Yeah.
Pride Lands, still unhinted, might have your second SP, which would mean you would be force required to do OC to get there. Like, but here's the other thing. Nobody's pushed and touched STT yet. STT was in your opening. Like,
yep.
They have. We've had tools for a bit for it. Like, both runners have Trinity Force or Trinity Limit.
Trinity Limit.
Both runners have Limit Form. Both runners have Fire. So you do have the tools to do those optimally. So.
Yep. So, I mean, that's an important note. I think also that we should really look at the fact that we did East Castle up to Beast, but it's not done as far as we know.
The first visit isn't done.
Yeah,
the second visit is in
reachable.
OC.
Yeah, it's not reachable yet, but no one's touched OC. So this is pretty interesting. There's a lot of things in the balance. And we did see Tibbs quickly make work of 1K with that magic stat and Magnega.
And like we said, he is going to attempt to set up Sephi, but he's not even going to push the core fights yet.
Or even do... Yep. So we're not doing that because it got hinted. So it's blue. He's probably flying down now to set up Sephiroth. I'm not sure if Tibbs is just going to do it right away. There is a potential upside with the progression, but it is definitely not straightforward without a reflect.
I was going to say, I definitely would, if I'm setting up, like I go down here, potentially check the proof of peace check, and then leave, or I just set up to just leave and then come back and check the proof of peace check just for potential extra tools. Like, sure, we don't have any, important checks, but you still have things like, I don't think either runner has like Hori, so I think that's one of the big things.
Yep. We do see Dot now going for Korsk. Yep. With the quick run, so probably going to set up once more. Unfortunately, they don't have the hint for Hollow Bastion. But there's still a potential for some tools in here, ability-wise, that they could find. So
Tibbs getting the single cycle on Thresholder. But we are, Dot did do the initial core skip here, setting off the furnaces, now going to dive deeper. But like, as you said, Dot doesn't have the information that Tibbs did, which is this core just may have some like accessories or some abilities that could be useful. It's not going to have important checks.
Yeah. And that's very unfortunate for them. But we will at least, from audience point of view, get to see what's in here, because Tibbs elected to leave, understandably. We will see whether or not Tibbs chooses to push Darkthorn Shadowstalker, so we'll see about that one.
I would suspect most likely. Oh, I would suspect most likely, because you're still looking, like I said, you're still looking for that Royal Summons. Royal Summons is way too important at this point in the seed, and that's where it's like, okay, I have to get out of here, but how do I get out of here safely? It's I need Royal Summons. So if you can push an extra fight, potentially get the royal summons, or get more prog points toward getting more information for it. Definitely worth doing.
Yeah. I think interesting to note is that there were no abilities at all, and just a few. I think an accessory in the back half, of course. So Dot unfortunately gets the bad news through actually checking it that core had nothing of use. But they are checking the second page to see whether or not that Space Paradox unlock is there, but it's not. So we'll see whether or not they elect to, say, go to Olympus Coliseum instead. Yep.
Yeah, and this, I think we have the, well, here's the thing. We have the info that, Way of Dawn's here.
Yep.
And so that makes sense to go here, try to see if you can find that Way of the Dawn to push toward other objectives. The one concern is that, right off the bat. But here's the other concern I would have. We know that the World That Never Was doesn't have any important checks when it comes to world unlocks and stuff like that. So moving toward objectives. So you're only doing this for the 2 objectives. That's it.
Yeah.
And with the information we have, we still know that getting that last bit is going to be hard acquired.
Yeah.
Tibbs did come across the Valor form though.
On level 39.
Yep.
Using Twilight Town 3. And we just found an identity disc off of Limit 4. It's just sitting right there in the whole time, which is, as we've noted, pretty big, considering what we know about Space Paranoids and having Way to the Dawn. But unfortunately, with Way to the Dawn already being available in that OC shotgun, I guess only provides screens as a good XP leveling spot instead of the potential additional value it could have provided the seed.
Yeah, unfortunate. Well, but the thing is, it still can have some important checks can still be there, such as your magics. So we're still talking about these 2 being reflectless right now and still having Sephi on the card. That is definitely the one thing that these runners are probably both going and hoping that nothing bad happens. Roxas pulled out the Beyblades and just went relentless on Dot, which is unfortunate.
In the meantime, we'll see Tibbs go through the OC shotgun, find that very, very early Way to the Dawn, and we might see Tibbs follow right behind into Roxas. We are seeing Dot setting up for Ragnarok spams on Roxas, especially given this magic stat will do good work of this fight.
I mean, this definitely is the correct choice when you're looking at stats here for sure. This should be the kill, and does get it pretty cleanly. Yeah, Tibbs has a lot more options because Tibbs' stats are, pretty juiced comparatively with the 16 level difference.
Yep. See already a bit of a change there. And World Never Was is blued in the meantime, with that Blizzard just right behind Roxas.
Yeah.
So that's causes an interesting decision for Dot here, because Dot's pivoting looks like for screens to get that extra juice through stats and potential magics that you've mentioned.
Yeah, Tibbs right now having to deal with the unfortunate side effect of not having that reflect to make this fight for Rock just a lot easier, but does push through and is going to get the kill here pretty cleanly. Uses Antetsuken in order to set up another Ars Arcanum and just very quickly finishes that fight. Dot now continuing to push to set up for or to get the screens. I would suspect that that's the main reason you're in here at this point. So, I do want to note that Aerial Spiral was there right before the blizzard that killed off the world. So,
and that's pretty big if you choose to keep pushing, right?
Yep, Tibbs very quickly checking the extra chests just in case there's something of value. He's probably going to check here. Oh, Tibbs is actually going to just straight up push to Syax, I think. He's going to set himself up here. Looking at his Keyblades.
Yeah, with that Aerial Spiral, with Final Form and Flare Force, Xigbar, if you know, you just stay careful enough, should fall pretty quickly.
Yeah, the one concern for Tibbs once again becomes your volume of ethers, because Tibbs has been burning through a lot of them throughout the seed in order to continue, you know, maintaining a very high frequency pace. Does get enough to buy out another 10, so should be good for a little bit longer. But Dot now has Stitch the Homie out, has Magnega, and is just going to start the blender.
Yep.
So these stats are going to go up super quick. Already to 32, 33. I mean, I could see easily getting into the... Maybe considers pushing like much further than usual because knowing Seffi is, you know, probably a requirement here.
Yep.
Will just continue grinding even if it goes past like your standard 40-40. No, just goes ahead, gets to level 40, got the Valor, and gets out of there.
Yep.
So
gets the additional progression point off of 40, but unfortunately, as Square noted, doesn't have XP boost. That was found, so couldn't get as much value out of their screens push. He had one, but wanted probably a little more from the time that they had on screens. We do get that second way to the door, though.
Yeah, and that was the only thing in SP. But here's the other thing to consider. We now know it's in the second visit of PR, and that's Wisdom Form. So that's going to be big. And then you're not worried about torn pages at this point because you're not worried about what's in 100 Acre. You don't have farms there. You don't have any relevancy to go back to SP. So chasing after that identity just does not retain its value any longer. So Tibbs doing the Luxor fight here.
I want to point out that we also got the hint for Beast Castle, and all this time we were looking for this Disney Castle access, and guess where it is? It's in Beast Castle. It could just be on Darkthorn. You know, we could have just maybe checked it through a Tibbs. But we'll see what that leads into, because if it's not in that Beast Castle 1 remainder, that OC push looks even more valuable now.
I do like how Tibbs is still trying to continue to loop Luxord, usually doing the aerial spiral loop on the one mini to set up the retaliation from the one mini game. You tend to set it up when you have a reflect because you're doing aerial spirals until the very end, and then you're hitting a reflect. And in the case of Tibbs, he's setting it up still. But instead of going for the mini or the reflect, because he doesn't have it, he's repositioning stuff. Oh, and a card hits him in the back, so he can't get the DM skip, unfortunately. But that's fine. Tibbs is just going to dodge Luxord here. Going to pop out of limit.
Just taking the hits like a champ because of beginner just having that strong defense stat and the HP. We see Dot did find that wisdom form in PR2. It was right before the gambler with an additional bonus fire and the page that is off of the gambler bonus, which you mentioned doesn't have that much value. But the wisdom form is interesting because we do know of a way to get the Disney Castle unlock, but we don't know if it's in OC1 or if it's in OC. Oh, sorry, not OC1. Beast Castle 1 or BC2.
Yeah, but the other thing is now you're having to push OC out some, which then is going to put a lot of things into perspective here. Tibbs has Sephi set up, but if you go after the limit or the valor form or the wisdom form that's in PR2, which Tibbs can very quickly get to, and you end up going into you go into DCTR and you find that
Master form. Yep.
Master form is in TR, not in DC. You may potentially just want to sack Sephi at that point because you'll have your access to your form 7.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it would be faster, to get that form 7 than to worry about Sephi. Yep. So, Tibbs is now going to go check Darkthorn. we're going to go get our first push of Darkthorn to see is that Royal Summons there, or are we diving?
Are we going further beyond? I guess that's the question.
Here's the other thing. Mm-hmm. Where's the second Royal Summons?
Well, we know it's not in our Sphere 0 STT because we did get that hinted with Just Final, which neither of them will now go into.
Yeah, but the big piece of information that we have, there's only a few places left. But guess what? You've pushed out all of TT except for Betwixt, so it's probably not in TT. Pride Lands, there could be a Pride Lands unlock that gets you into PR1 or not in the PL1.
It could be in Pride Lands.
It could be in Pride Lands, yeah.
Cursed Seed potential. But we do get the rest of our hints on Tibbs' side.
It's in Pride Lands. Yep.
It's in Pride Lands.
So, and Darkthorn being rude here. So, Tibbs now going to push out Olympus Coliseum. Here's the thing, though. If that Beast Claw is all the way deep in OC2, do you consider Book Boy?
Probably.
I
think if you step into OC2, you probably do make a consideration for Book Boy. With our stats being where they are with a fire, it's really not that. It's not too much to get.
I feel like you should definitely consider Book Boy over Sephi if you're picking one of the two. If you're doing, and I think at this point you probably are only doing one of them if you are skipping that limit form, which Tibbs may very well be. Because he does have Sephi set up, and as we said, depending on how deep this Beast Claw is, there may be no reason to go after that limit form or Sephi if you can set everything else up because of how deep you've had to push for that Beast Claw. I would say I would honestly say if Beast Claw is anywhere in BC2, you're just looking for that, which means you're pushing into LOD.
Yeah. One important note: we are up to almost 55 minutes RTA. You still haven't seen a reflect. That's quite a long time to not see one. So pretty sure both of the runners starting to really query where it is. But we do see Dot going. Is going for the limit one cycle on Syax and gets it.
That's it. Yep.
And we're even objective wise.
Okay, Moko, let me ask you something.
Yeah.
If you were running the seed, where do you think reflex are at this point?
STT.
Based on I don't like that answer. My answer, and I'm gonna say it this way because I'm known for running STT.
Yep.
But there's your Beast Claw. Right after you see Phil. So, and get 3 urns. Okay, I do like the fact Tibbs is very quickly checking to see if there's anything else relevant, especially, our lovely reflex. I didn't notice though that OC went blue the moment that was grabbed. So Tibbs making sure to get a cut team transition, doesn't want to waste time when going into BC2 here.
Yep.
So this is still a very close race because that's not a huge gap for Dot to make up.
No, it's not very far in OC.
But here's the concern for Tibbs. This potentially becomes a limit 7 versus Sephi situation, and I like my odds if I'm the player going after limit 7 instead of going after Sephi, because of the fact that you don't have the reflect for Sephi currently,
and we know that the DC and Pride lands like back and fro will net you that master form eventually.
Yeah.
Now how deep you will need to go for that master form, we don't know. Because neither of them have stepped foot into Disney Castle until right this moment.
Yep.
We will see the mouse push now as a guarantee, and we will have to see at least one Proud Fang here, I think, logically.
There's your reflector. So Sephi now feeling a lot safer. So.
And their explosion.
Yeah. Well, DC just having the tools that you want for Sephi that you didn't currently have. Yep. The explosion loop is definitely one of the better ones. Your magic stat is just infinitesimally higher, so definitely the better play to just knock that out of the way.
Yep.
Tibbs is going to get Minnie over to the wall and attempt to push her down.
Yep.
As quickly as
not having as clean of a mini push as we saw earlier from Podgy, but that Magnega with that magic stat will just remove all the enemies in sight, especially because this is Disney Castle first visit, so
yeah,
there's not long for them.
Yeah, and you can see Tibbs instead of even risking having to, use the faith ability from Minnie, is just clearing the path with that Magnega and just continuing to call her down every time the reaction command becomes available.
Yep.
So, in fact, even goes to the point of using an elixir or an ether in order to push through. All right, so now we're gonna see Tibbs pivot here to Pride Lands, most likely.
Yep.
After doing some quick menuing.
And Pride Lands must have our access into TR, so
and it
potentially setting himself up for go mode.
Yeah, and it must have it during the first visit. That's the other big thing.
Yeah.
So the furthest we're going to see is Scar.
Yep.
I think we're just most likely we see only to Simba, but there is that chance.
So I think that Tibbs is locked into his go mode, albeit it's just a matter of if we need to see Scar or Hyenas 1, based on whether or not we see the Royal Summons in the shotgun of Pride Lands. But
I don't know. I don't know that I don't know that you're necessarily locked into this, because
you can just pick up Limit 7 instead.
Yeah, because you look at it with Wisdom 7. Wisdom 7 is like, one, you do want to level up Wisdom Limit Form a little bit more, ideally, for Sephi.
Yeah.
But you don't have to. Okay, and there's the Royal Summons. So on the way to Simba. So we're only going to see the push to the Oasis and Simba.
Yeah.
But you have to think, as long as it's not on GR2, it's probably faster just to get that Wisdom form and get the extra bit of leveling in Wisdom, or not in Wisdom, in Limit, than doing Sephi. But I can still see the world of doing Sephi. It's the guaranteed route Tibbs currently has, and may not want to risk the
GR2 potential.
Yeah, because if it is GR2, if he may be of the belief if it's GR2 that he's potentially donezo here.
Well, time to see the PR and see what goodies we have in here besides, and there's your master form. So that gives more credence to the, perhaps we just check PR first.
Yeah, I think at this point you're not picking up any more chests if you're Tibbs, unless you go to PR and check it for the Wisdom form, as we said.
Would you consider picking up Magic?
Yes, for the Reflect. That's the only reason. Reflera just so much better for Sephi. While Baby Reflect is doable, Reflera is just that much faster, and Tibbs just going into final form and just mowing down things, just wants to get through these fights as quickly as possible, so can definitely see why he's doing that versus at this point, like, they'll level your forms. And I think this gives me more belief that Tibbs is just going to go to Sephi from here.
Yeah, if he had popped into Limit form to level it whilst he's on the Windows, I have the belief that he's considering Limit 7 still.
I don't know, because Limit form, this is probably one of the worst areas to level Limit form. You get a ton more value out of Master form because you do get drive orbs naturally off these enemies. You get better off of Wisdom form and final form just because of the kill speed. So, and if you're looking at it, you probably can just get through these fights faster and put yourself into, dare I say it, go into the very first fight of STT, where you're fighting Cypher in the arena. When you're first learning the struggle bats, the very first fight, because that fight you can get levels up, and so you do that for the infinite limit gauge. Just stay away from Cypher, spam like Sonic Blade, get it up quickly and get out. So I mean, Tibbs is getting ready to go into Future Pete here. Now, notice that we did have a difference in strategy between Dot Dot and Tibbs when it came to how they handled getting the second royal summons. Dot Dot was like, I know I need it. Didn't worry about coming back into or using the warp, the save warp, to very quickly get over to Mini to start the escort. Instead, just left knowing, hey, I can use this. I'm gonna save warp there anyways. Go to Pride Lands, knocked out Pride Lands, got the world unlock, and is like, I'm just gonna push all of this at this point.
Yep.
So, but we are seeing I think with the content difference, Tibbs might still be fine with Sephi. I just think it depends on how quickly Dot Dot gets to limit 7 after Future Pete.
Yep, and there's the dive into Sephiroth.
Like I said, ideally you do want Reflare instead of Baby Reflect here, but you're gonna take what you have. Also doesn't have second chance, only has once more. So that's the that would probably be my one other concern, is I'd want both parts of SCOM here.
Yeah, you'd want your defensive tools for sure. Especially not getting the clean cycle, first phase cycle. Interestingly, choosing not to go for the Ragnaroks, despite our magic stat being significantly better.
I could see why. Using ours as a counterattack is not a terrible move either.
Yep. We see a Heartless Angel from Sephiroth. The good anticipation from Tibbs goes up to knock him out of the state. Gets a bit of reflect damage off.
Once again, using ours as a defensive tool here. So I do like it. Oh, nice usage of the strike raid for the response to Sephi there. Sephi going into final phase here.
Yep.
Yeah, Tibbs is using ours as a twofold piece here. Is using it, one, as a defensive tool, which I very much like. But also using it to get back HP. So should have one, maybe two more major attack combos here. Tibbs is going to try to get the reflect damage into the Trinity. This is going to be clean, and Tibbs is going to be moving on to final fights.
Yeah.
Dot Dot moving on to Boat Pete, so not out of this yet.
No, definitely not. And Dot Dot's been leveling limit through the windows, which you mentioned is slower, but is now on limit, I believe, 6.
That's limit 6. Yes. So Dot Dot,
we are
Dot
right on the
Dot,
cusp.
yeah. Dot Dot, but Dot Dot's also behind Loadless right now by about 15 to 20 seconds, and still has the Future Pete fight to do. So that may be enough of a lead for Tibbs to potentially close this out. But this is still not out of the realm of possibility of anybody, losing the seed. Like either player can still win the seed at this point.
One important thing to note is that there has been a huge item struggle for Tibbs throughout the whole seed, and then it could matter in the end. Albeit he does have a couple mega elixirs and an elixir or two. So we'll see whether or not that comes into play here. But Dot coming up to finishing up Future Pete.
I wonder if Dot's going to just go for the kill there. I was gonna wonder if maybe Dot pops until limit. To very quickly. Yeah.
Alrighty.
Jumps into Halloween Town. Just wants to go somewhere where they very quickly can trigger an enemy.
Yep, can trigger an enemy, can easily refill.
And there you go.
And there's limit 7, so we're off to the races now. With Dot being behind.
Yeah, you've got the outside core engines that Tibbs just finished up. So...
Also, hi Raiders, welcome in. We are in our top 8 matchup between Tibbs and Dot, as you can see, of our second event in this beginner bootcamp. Sorry.
Yeah. No, I appreciate the Raiders coming in and coming to join us. Please remember that this is a charity event. We are trying to raise money for the American Heart Association, so any donations can be helpful. You should see a link to the Tiltify in the pinned post. But we do see Tibbs very cleanly getting through Engine Core here. And moving on to AX1 with plenty of drive or gauge left, might go for the Dragonfire strats here with fire and does indeed do so. Had just enough form and magic to pull it off beautifully. So very quick kill on AX1, on to AX2, and Dot on the second half of the core engines. Taking care of that, and then about to go into engine core afterwards. So Tibbs has a little bit of a gap to play with.
Yep.
Now I will say this is still within range of Dome, if Dot gets through engine core fast enough.
Yeah.
It's maybe on the outer edges of it, but it is still a chance that Dome comes into play.
Yes, and especially with the potential with a limit fast kill on Xemnas as well to keep in mind. We have the potential should Tibbs see a Dome, and so we can't count them out.
Stitch, the ultimate homie during that engine core, that was lightning fast with that Magnega and Thundara. So we are seeing just how much that magic stat is obliterating these fights. Tibbs on to Final Zem as Dot enters AX2. So again, this is about a 75-second difference right now. That's just on the edge of, if Tibbs is not, optimal on everything through this early part of Final Fight or Final Zem, and ends up getting domed, Dot with perfect execution could still potentially ink out the win here.
Yep.
So far, Tibbs doing a phenomenal job with his reflect timings, getting. Oh, Tibbs! He wanted it. He wanted the limit kill.
And he gets a Trinity reflect Trinity kill instead, and that is 109.14. Unfortunately, that is past Dot's loadless, so that's GG's and a W for Tibbs in his matchup that he wanted one back from last event, I believe.
Yeah, these two faced off in top 8 of event 1, and Dot did barely pull that one out. Now it's just a reverse, but very well played by Tibbs. With the objectives and the seed and the way this played, this seed could have potentially been a lot longer. But Dot played phenomenally. Tibbs played, out of his mind. Like, his clear speed on content was obscene, and you could definitely tell. So we now have 3 of our top 4 figured out at this point. So we will know tomorrow when Plixus and Revelox play who the last person of top 4 is going to be. I mean, I guess the question becomes: Are we gonna have the EU representation in top 4? So,
very interesting question, actually.
But Plixus has been playing very consistently throughout event 1 and throughout the first part of event 2 here. So, Dot using pause buffering just to guarantee timings, and hits the reflected accession for the dome skip kill. So GG's to both our runners.
Yep.
So, but we do have the brackets to go back to in just a second. We're just going to show where we're at. Again, this is event 2 of 3. We do have a final bracket after event 3 for the top 16 between based on points from the 3 events.
Yep.
So we still welcome anybody to come out to our event 3 when the qualifier comes out for that qualifier. And I'm just going to go ahead and throw the date out there now, is going to be March 28th. So 11 days from now. At 6 p.m. Eastern. But we do see, like I said, we have Docs having won last night, Podgy having won earlier today, Tibbs just winning this race now, and then we have the Plixus versus Revelox match going tomorrow afternoon. So we will have our top 4 figured out tomorrow afternoon. Top 4 will probably play their matches on Thursday, with our 3rd place and grand finals matches most likely being Friday or Saturday. So on that note, I think we're going to be calling it an evening here. We thank everybody for coming out. Hope everybody enjoyed the fantastic races that were put on today. And GG's to all of our runners that raced today. And we will see you all tomorrow for the conclusion of our top 8. Moko, you got anything to say before we head off other than that?
And just a reminder to donate if you can. Other than that, got nothing for you.
Yeah. Well, for Moko the Suzuki, we will catch you all later. Peace.